Hello everybody, and welcome back to mufcMPB here on YouTube. My name is Brooks, and today is Friday the 3rd of May. Now this is going to be a bit of a different video. As you can see on your screen, there isn't a tweet, there isn't a bit of breaking news that we're going to be talking about, but we're going to be thinking or discussing, well, I'm going to be discussing with the camera, i.e. you, this potential Manchester United lineup for next season, if the rumours or the strongly circulated rumours are true and we will pull through and actually succeed in signing these players. This could be a potential lineup we could be seeing at Old Trafford next season, and just at a first glance you'll notice that there are 4 new players. You starting with Todibo at the back, Miguel, Gutierrez I believe at left back, Michael Olise at right midfield, and João Gomez partnering Kobbie Mainoo in the defensive midfield position. So just 4, obviously, well, I'd hope that it isn't just 4 players that Manchester United will try to be signing this summer, but I'd say these are the 4 most likely given the news and rumours and positions that actually need to be filled or improved on at Manchester United. I'd say this is probably the most realistic lineup we will be seeing at some point next season. You know, there might be injuries, a couple of players might be out, but that 11, I wouldn't be against it. But what we're going to do in this episode is just go through the positions that have been changed. So the left back, centre back, DM and right mid. We're going to discuss or talk about what they could potentially add to the team, if there are any other options that we could bring in regards to if we've been linked to another player or anything like that. So in the defensive midfield position, instead of João Gomez, it could be Adrien Rabiot, for example. But we're just going to get started. And I am actually going to start with João Gomez because this is someone who is relatively new to the Premier League. He's been here for just over a year. Wolves signed him from Flamengo in January 2023 for 15 million. And that's not a very high fee, but he has added a lot to the Wolves team. I think he might have gone under the radar a little bit when he first joined because he's only recently really started to get spoken about in terms of, oh, this is a really good player, he could potentially move to a better club type stuff, and that's been recently. I think what he adds to the Wolves team after the departures of João Moutinho and Ruben Neves is stability in the midfield, someone who's good on the ball, someone who's not really too scared to get into a challenge, and someone who reads the game very well. I wouldn't say he's lightning quick across the ground, but he definitely isn't, you know, as slow as Casemiro, for example. That would be something which we definitely need to try and improve on. Centre midfield is his primary position, but of course he can drop deeper and he could easily play in a double pivot. He could easily play centre defensive midfield, and I think that's something that we definitely need to fill. Someone, I guess, I'm going to say this because I wouldn't say the senior defensive midfield department in terms of genuine quality that could come, that we could actually get and improve. I don't think that's a very saturated market. So I'm going to say with João Gomez, he's relatively young. What it says here, how old is he again? He is 23. I was going to say 24, but I thought that might be wrong. So he's 23 years old. And in modern football, with all the technology, with all the information, the sciences, the club doctor, with all of the access that we have to top class medical information and information that enables players to play longer, 23 I don't think is very old. I think it's still actually quite young. Maybe 10 or 15 years ago, 23, yes, it's still young because you're only 23 years old, but at the top you're probably only going to be pushing at the very, very top peak fitness until you're about 27, 28, and then things start to happen. But I think that's different now. So let's imagine we sign João Gomez and he retires at Manchester United. You'd be able to get someone who's still on the up, still improving, probably has about 6 years until they actually hit their peak as a centre/defensive midfielder. But then he's able to carry on playing at the highest level for, I'd say, until he's about 34, 35. I think with all the information that we have now, this is giving players the opportunity to really, really, really maximise their career. And I think what João Gomez, 23 years old, next to Kobbie Mainoo, 18 years old. Obviously, they're 5 years apart, but you could get the best out of them or potentially form a very, very good midfield partnership for the next 9 years, at the very least, especially with João Gomez being 5 years older than Kobbie Mainoo. But one stumbling block, which I could foresee this summer, is the price tag. Wolves, obviously, they paid £15 million for him in January 2023. And I'd say last summer, they definitely did need to raise some funds, but they're not in the same position financially as last summer. So they won't need to be selling the big players. They won't need to be raising a lot of money. It's said or reported that they will be trying to raise around 50 to 60 million pounds this summer, to fund their transfers, to do whatever they need to do, whether that's selling lots and lots of lower, I guess, expensed players, or selling a player like Pedro Neto, selling Hwang or something, or selling Joao Gomez. I haven't really seen any other solid links to Joao Gomez apart from Manchester United, so I can understand why he's in this lineup. And it is a transfer that I'd like to see, because there you have someone who's already Premier League proven, has already shown his quality, and you could get him at an affordable price. He did, of course, sign last summer, so there will be a long time left on his contract, and as I said, that would be the stumbling block. I'd say the most I'd really want to spend on him would be double his market value. His market value is around 25 to 30 million pounds. So if you were to max out at 60 million pounds, I wouldn't be against that. But of course, you would have to be raising funds. Well, Manchester United would have to be raising funds from other places. And we are going to definitely have to raise funds, because when you're looking at players like Michael Olise, who's going to cost at least around 60 million pounds, Todibo, hopefully we wouldn't be paying any more than 35 or 40 million pounds. And then Miguel Gutierrez, who I don't think would cost too much as well. I think with Joao Gomez or Michael Olise being the two most expensive, on this list here, I don't think that's too bad. I think it's something that we could get done. And in addition to signing Joao Gomez for the defensive midfield position to possibly play in a double pivot, you could be looking at someone like Adrian Rabiot, because, we did do an episode on him a few days ago and looked into his situation, because he was again linked to Manchester United. Of course, his contract does run out in the summer, so you wouldn't have to be paying a transfer fee to Juventus to get his signature. However, it would have to be subsidized in the wages, so there wouldn't be a transfer fee for Rabiot, who could 100% come in, offer some top quality experience, offer a lot of squad depth. He might start over Joao Gomez, you don't know. He's 29 years old, could definitely play at the highest level for another 4 or 5 years, considering he's not the type of player that relies on explosive pace, explosive movements. Well, I say that because I'd imagine, or I understand, that players that rely on explosive movements, there comes a time when they can't do those explosive movements anymore. You look at strikers like Michael Owen, an explosive player when he came through, ripped his hamstring a couple times, and then later on in his career, when he wasn't even that old, he couldn't hit the same speeds, he couldn't make the same movements, he couldn't make the same runs. He even came out and said this himself. But when you have players that don't rely on those sort of things to base their game on, not that it's a bad thing, I just believe it, gives you more longevity in the game, and Adrian Rabiot definitely is one of those players. So I definitely sign those two for a combined fee of whatever Joao Gomez costs. I think it will be two very good signings that could come into the midfield and definitely improve what we have, because of course we're going to be saying goodbye to Christian Eriksen this summer, as well as Casemiro, two central midfielders. Obviously as well, we have Mason Mount and Scott McTominay, as well as of course Bruno Fernandes, who's playing slightly in front. I think having Fernandes, Mainoo, Joao Gomez, Mason Mount, Kobbie Mainoo, Joao Gomez, Adrian Rabiot, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, and then Scott McTominay as six midfielders who could rotate with those three positions. So Bruno, Mason or McTominay, or Kobbie Mainoo or Rabiot. I think that is a very, very good selection of players, and I'm all for it. But moving on, we're going to go to Michael Olise next, because over the past few days, everybody on Twitter, anybody on any sort of Premier League related Twitter will have seen the reports. I will just show you very quickly here that Michael Olise is a priority target for Manchester United. I know we get that a lot, and we see a lot of reports like that over the years, because it's always great to mention Manchester United when you want to get rid of a player or when you're looking to sell a player on, because it will add money to the valuation. But Michael Olise is a very realistic possibility. We have problems on the right hand side, you could say. Personally, I think these problems have been solved ish. when we had the front three of Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho on the right-hand side and Rasmus Højlund up front, we were scoring for fun, we were creating for fun, and we just looked like a very, very well-balanced attacking outlet. Marcus Rashford isn't on form. Alejandro Garnacho is very young, and Rasmus Højlund is also very young. I think what we had there was a good honeymoon phase, and then I believe Højlund picked up an injury, so we saw the end to that. But in my opinion, if you sign Michael Olise, there's a risk that you're going to have to take, because Marcus Rashford is not leaving, Garnacho is not leaving, and Olise probably would take the right-hand side. Alejandro Garnacho, I think, is a player now who's played enough first-team football, who's shown enough quality, who's shown enough progression in the short time he's had in the first team to warrant a say in that I have to be starting. I think he's earned that at this point. And I think bringing in Michael Olise jeopardizes Alejandro Garnacho's place, because then you're in a situation where Man City, I think, can get away with this because they're winning the trophies, because they've been winning the trophies for so many years. But I don't think Manchester United are in a place to be doing this right now because of where we are at. I don't think we can risk, I guess, decreasing Garnacho's minutes, potentially stunting his growth, and also potentially giving him a wandering eye. And what I mean by wandering eye is, I know Real Madrid are going to want me in a couple of years, or I know what I have. I want to be playing or starting every match. I need to be given the time to make a couple of mistakes here and there. And let's imagine Gnabry and Koeman left Bayern Munich. What's to say Bayern Munich don't come in next season after we've signed Olise? Garnacho wasn't really getting the minutes, and they can offer Garnacho the minutes. He might go there. That is a possible situation. Do you want to potentially risk losing Garnacho before he's really reached his potential at Manchester United to sign Michael Olise? And I think that's one of the dilemmas that we're going to have to face, and I think that's a discussion as Manchester United fans that we probably should have been having already. Because I mean, I don't think it's a complete reach to say that Michael Olise benches Garnacho and then Garnacho gets frustrated and leaves because he's young and wants to be playing. I don't think that's not a possibility. I think that could very well happen. Would I take the risk? Yes, I would take the risk, because I support Manchester United. Whoever's the better player should be playing. But I will leave that down to you. Let me know in the comment section down below whether you think signing Michael Olise is a big enough risk. Well, is the reward a big enough risk to potentially lose Alejandro Garnacho because we have signed Michael Olise? Let me know in the comment section down below. But I will just move on to the right centre-back position, which we do have Todibo, someone who came through the ranks at Barcelona. He made a few appearances for Barcelona years ago, and then he moved on to Nice, where he is now, where Sir Jim Ratcliffe is also, I believe, owner of the club, which all really leads down to a deal being relatively simple for the two clubs to come, because there won't be... I mean, it will be the easiest sort of communication we could ever have, and I think this is a deal we definitely need to get done. I think if you remember a couple of months ago, Todibo had a falling out with the Nice fans. I guess they were kind of trying to force him out the door. This was when Manchester United were heavily linked to him, and I still think this is a player we should be signing. Whether we sign him and nobody else, or whether we sign him as well as another centre-back like a Bastoni, who we've been linked with a little bit, like an Araujo, who we've also been linked with. I think this is somebody who definitely needs to come in, because even if he doesn't make the starting lineup every week, he adds quality depth. And I think, yes, Maguire's been brilliant this season, and he's definitely one of the first defender on the team sheet at the moment. But when he's not there, we don't have any reliability. Johnny Evans is going at the end of the season. Victor Lindelof is probably leaving as well as being relatively injury prone this season. Willy Camboala came through, had a good few games, and also picked up an injury. Of course, Lisandro Martinez is injured at the moment. We've got Louis Jackson, a youth player who hasn't made a senior appearance but is having to be put on the bench because he might actually need to come on. And we're playing Casemiro at the back right now. Luke Shaw's also out. He could fill in that left centre back, but he's injured. I think we need the depth. And with the centre-backs that are definite... I even forgot Varane, who's leaving at the end of the season as well. With these centre-backs that are leaving at the end of the season, we need the depth. And Todibo is relatively young. He's youngish. And he's quality. He could come in and start. He could come in and start and improve on what we already have. We don't know. But there's a good chance it could happen. I think this is a definite signing. And I don't think we should be paying any more than around 40 million for him. I think he works well in the defence. He has a lot of pace. He has a lot of strength. And I think he could form a good partnership with Lisandro Martinez if he is the left centre-back first choice next season. Because I guess you have big and small there. You have Lisandro Martinez. Yeah, he's 5'10" or 5'11". But I don't think he plays his height. He's a very intelligent defender who I think could partner anybody who adds that physicality and who adds that, big guy strength to the back. And I think that could be a good partnership for the future. Other centre-backs who I think, as I said, Bastoni. I do like Bastoni. And Ronald Araujo from Barcelona, I think are two good other options. We've also been linked to Jared Branthwaite, but I would imagine he'd be playing as a left centre-back instead of a right centre-back, so I'm not really going to mention his name when talking about Todibo. But moving on to the left-back. Now, this is an interesting one because it kind of came out of nowhere, and I would imagine he's not insanely well known. Miguel Gutierrez, I believe his name is, currently playing for Girona at left-back. They are definitely going to qualify for the Champions League next season. However, he might not be there because Manchester United, we were linked with him a few days ago, I think last week. And, after doing a little bit of research on him, after, thinking about the literally handful of times I've seen him play for Girona this season, I think this is a player that could come in and give us what we already have, but at a younger age and a little bit better with a tiny bit of a twist. And I'm going to compare him to Luke Shaw. He's a very, very comfortable ball carrier, someone who can, I guess, work his way out of tight situations, and he's comfortable playing 1- and 2-touch football. I don't think he really gets flustered that much. And he's not the best defensively. He's not, in terms of a one-on-one defender, on the same level as Wan-Bissaka. However, he's not a terrible defender. He gets stuck into challenges and is relatively reliable. Probably not very strong on the physical side, like, say, a Luke Shaw. But there's someone there who could definitely come in and improve his game and improve Manchester United's defence over the next few years. We haven't really been linked to too many left backs. Of course, we haven't had Malacia really at all this season. And of course, Luke Shaw's been injured a lot. So we've been seeing Dalot, we've seen Wan-Bissaka, we've also seen Victor Lindelof there. We've seen a whole heap of players playing at left back, which isn't their preferred position. So I think, obviously, when Malacia comes back and when Luke Shaw comes back, I don't think we're going to be getting rid of any of them. But I think we'll be bringing in Gutierrez. Is his name even Gutierrez? Am I bugging out? Am I just completely getting his name wrong? I am going to have to do a quick search. No, it is Miguel Gutierrez. I really thought I was getting that wrong. I think we should still bring him in anyway. Why not compete for places? Who knows? I think it can only breed for success. But those would be the 4 changes that we've got here that I think are the most likely to happen for next season. So let me know in the comment section down below whether this lineup here is good enough for you, if you think we'd actually get these signings done, and if you'd support that, because you're missing players, you're missing Casemiro, you're missing Rafael Varane, you're missing Wan-Bissaka, you're missing Marcus Rashford, you're missing a few fan favourites. Where does Mason Mount fit in here? All of these questions will come up when you have to come up with your predicted lineups for next season. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think. But I am just going to finish on something quickly because something did happen earlier and I was a little bit confused when I saw it. But Juventus midfielder Weston McKennie updated his profile picture to a photo of him in a Manchester United shirt. He got hacked. Don't read into it. He got hacked. I was a bit confused at first, but he got hacked. But we will be ending on that. Let me know in the comment section down below, as I said, what you think of the team, if you would make any changes or if you would swap Garnacho out for Rashford or etc, etc. Let me know what you think. But if you did like this bit of a different episode, also let me know in the comment section down below, as well as leaving a like on the video. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up to date daily with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Also, if you want instant updates, make sure you follow at mufcMPB over on X, as well as myself and all of the other presenters. Our links will be in the description down below. Manchester United play against Crystal Palace on Monday at Selhurst Park, and Bruno Fernandes might potentially miss it. So let me know in the comment section down below as well. How important do you think Bruno Fernandes is to Manchester United? Because I've seen a lot of people go back on their words. Oh, they want to sell him, but they're crying that Fernandes might potentially miss the Crystal Palace game. It's one or the other, guys. But I'll see you guys next time, and have a good night. Goodbye.